is one dream. Oh, all you need is one goal. Oh, all you need is one click. UNICAF can make your every dream come true. Yeah. No dreams too big. Oh, no dream not too small. Oh, take the first step to success. Oh yeah, 'cause UNICAF is here. UNICAF is here.
Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day to you wherever you're joining from. We are super excited to have you here today. Yes, what a great way to celebrate the International Youth Day. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Nelson Collins. I'm the marketing manager for UNICAF Nigeria, and we're super excited as an institution to have you all here today. Thank you so much for making it possible for the event. Now, I want to specially thank the Honorable Minister. Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner, pardon me. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. We have the Honorable Commissioner of Youth and Sport to get today here with us, who's going to help us do justice to our conversation today. Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner, for making it possible today to attend the event.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. We know you're a very busy person, and we're super excited that out of your busy schedule, you made our time to attend our event. Thank you so much, sir. And for everyone joining us, of course, the presence of the Honorable Commissioner is just the tip of the iceberg to show you that UNICAF, together with all the partnering bodies and associations, are here together to make sure that we impact you with the relevant information that will make you succeed. How else can we celebrate the International Youth Day today if not putting together a package and informations and, of course, trainings that would help equip you to become better? Doing this, we have, of course, with us the JCI. Thank you so much, JCI, for partnering with us on this event. And also we have the AIESEC. Thank you so much, AIESEC Nigeria, for joining forces with UNICAF to make this event successful. We are super excited. All right, now UNICAF as an organization, we're deeply committed to economic development, of course, in the communities that we're present. And that is why we have been able to put together this webinar to celebrate the International Youth Day. Of course, we know that the youths are very important to every generation, to every community. So yes, we are the future of the world. Permit me to use that word. So now, what is the topic we'll be discussing today? Innovative culture, the key to youth development and empowerment. Like I said initially, every nation cannot undermine the impact of youth. Okay, the success of every generation, the success of every community is dependent on how informed the youth are. So we believe that equipping the youth would help a nation become better. And that is why we have been able to put this together. What is the theme again? The key to youth development and empowerment, innovative culture. So we're going to be discussing this all through with all our guest speakers today. And with me, before we go in, let me just quickly run through about UNICAF as an institution so you understand who we are. And then I will also be introducing our keynote speaker, which is the Honorable Commissioner, Mr. Oluwaseun Fakorede. I'm going to be reading his biography in a very short time. Before we do that, let's discuss about UNICAF. Now, who is UNICAF? UNICAF is a leading online platform that facilitates the online delivery of affordable and flexible, high-quality university education to eligible applicants in Africa and the world. And we do this in collaboration with reputable universities in Africa, the US, and also the UK. Now, of course, been in the industry for a very long time. We have vast experience. So far, we have touched over 43,000 lives, and we have awarded scholarship worth $100 million, and we're doing this every day. And I'm so sure that today, a lot of you are going to be beneficiary of this great opportunity. And to that lucky person who's going to be winning the full scholarship after of course, it was announced the procedure to participate, congratulations to you. And we hope that that would help you kickstart that life-changing opportunity you've been looking forward to. Now, without wasting much time, like I said again, our keynote speaker today is no other person but the Honorable Commissioner of Youth and Sports, Mr. Oluwaseun Fakorede. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Oluwaseun Fakorede is the Honorable Commissioner of Youth and Sport of your state. Nigeria, and a United Nations Ambassador for Peace. He's also the founder and executive director of Home Advantage Africa, a social development and youth empowerment advocacy nonprofit organization. He's the recipient of the prestigious Future Award Africa Prize for Governance 2020. Mr. Seun believes more African millennials are going to lead tremendous impact in the next few years of human history and ever before, and his responsibility is to raise more men to lead this vanguard. Of course, we're talking about people like you and me attending today. Mr. Seun's passion and work has promoted leadership, development, and accountability for millennials as critical indices for Africa's development through seminars, conferences, and other platforms. He is an engineer, an entrepreneur, a consultant, and an author. Mr. Seun, together with his amazing team, run Home Advantage Africa, a non-profit devoted to promoting local dominance and global stardom in Africa through digital storytelling and other projects of similar ilk. Now, as a proactive and seasoned and dedicated professional that he is, with almost a decade of experience providing comprehensive administrative, operational, and managerial support to various organizations, Mr. Seun's expertise lies in coordinating and leading administrative and operational functions for senior level personnel and executives, backed by exceptional communication and multitasking capabilities. He excels at delivering remarkable results and driving optimal efficiency and success. Wow, what a caliber of person we have here today. So your portfolio is mouth-watering. Now, Mr. Seun Fakorede, as he is professionally known, enjoys focusing on the topics of sustainable development and leadership that results in national socio-economic transformation, with an incorruptible passion for youth empowerment, good governance, and national building. Mr. Seun loves reading good books, discovering new ideas, trying new food, traveling. He's also keenly interested in everything about Africa, inspiring and nurturing viable networks and relationships across the continent. Wow. Sir, your portfolio is quite an enviable one. We are super excited to have such a caliber of person with us today. Thank you so much, sir, for making our time to attend and also giving us the ability to learn at your feet. So thank you so much, sir. I'll be giving the floor over to you, sir, so you can actually kick off your presentation. Thank you so much, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I hope we can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. So thank you for having me here. I mean, coincidentally, today is actually a very, 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 very busy, day, especially, for those who, are keyed into the affairs of youth. Today is the 12th of August, which is the International Youth Day 2021. And I think, this is going to be perhaps, my second, third official engagement, today. I've been running from one to another, and I have to even run for another physical one, just immediately, after this. But I feel that, however short, the time that we're going to spend, I know that it's going to be really worth it. And I know that we're going to really have a good, time together. Have, before me, to speak about, innovative culture, the key to youth development and empowerment. And, while I was actually, thinking about how to put my thought together for this, I remember, some times ago that I actually also, gave a similar talk. It was one of, the TEDx, TED platforms, where I actually gave, something, similar, to this. And then I went back to my notes and, I found it, really, 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 really relevant, even, as of today, because I remember vividly that I think I gave that talk some 6 years ago. And I mean, this is 2021. And, this, talk, this, the ideas that I shared there, is still quite, relevant. So I just, decided, that I'm going to, please, can you have this? I just decided that, I'm going to, share this again, with us. while, I then now, expatiate, on it based on, my practical, experiences, especially in the field that I am, today, and where, I'm serving, today. So it goes, thus. One of the most important lessons, from both ancient and contemporary history is that, and contemporary history is the progress of countries, peoples, and civilization starts with education. The future of every nation is a function of its degree of education and exposure. And of course, I'm really happy that UNICAF, is doing this, because most of, the things that, UNICAF does is, to also, promote, education and give opportunities, to people, to get exposed, especially, internationally like that. So growing up, all we saw or heard or perceived as success was to go to school, get into the university, preferably to study one of the big courses, such as, medicine, law, engineering, etc. Marry a beautiful wife, raise kids, and then the cycle continues on and on. My friends, grandma is the world's, biggest storyteller. By his own judgment, though, she can go on a story for hours nonstop. Mama, as she is fondly called, can tell stories longer than you can sit. So she one day told us of how she was abandoned, by her husband and was left to raise the kids with little or nothing. And how sometimes the recipe for dinner was eba with water and salt. Mama said she knew all she had to do was to work hard enough to send her children to school, give them a good enough education, and like the Horace Mann quote, which says that education, beyond other devices of human origin, is a great equalizer of the conditions of man. Mama believes so much that giving our children the best form of education is an equalizer, and then it's going to give her a good life at old age. This was Mama's story. I also watched, and I was also talking to a friend who studied pharmacy. It was job hunting, and noticed how I noticed how easy it was for him to job hunt. Well, it was not a perfect go of different offers, but the lowest offer he got was well into six figures, and he had a few to choose from. I then began to understand that our parents struggle to get us to go to great citadels of learning and study seemingly great courses, come from what was considered success in their own generation. It worked perfectly for them, no matter how bad things were. Whether you agree or not, there was once a time, especially in Nigeria, that once you had a university degree, life security was your portion. We hear then that companies came to convocation ceremonies of higher institutions to give employment letters to new graduates, especially the high performing ones, like that. Oh, I wish this is still quite relevant in our world today. Getting a decorated degree then was the ultimate key. Some argue that the locks have been changed while we slept, though, but then I insist that the key that opens doors back in those days was school. The key that opens doors today is you. And this can only happen with your innovative, and creative ideas. Having many university graduates has not given us the Nigeria or the Africa of our dreams. We have a lot of young people who have gone through the motions of the university, and have failed to understand the recipe for success. We have failed to build a system to build a successful society, much less a successful nation. Every successful community is a product of many individuals who went out of their way to find the way, veered off what was called normal to achieve what now seems, to be collectively normal. We have, countless of examples in men like Cornelius Vanderbilt, who, according to Wikipedia, had little or no formal education, Oprah Winfrey, who changed the world of the talk industry, or Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerberg, who gave us devices to help teach formal education that they practically did not, have. But let's not forget quickly the likes of Nelson Mandela, Isaac Newton, and Jim Ensign, who left no stones unturned in their quest for formal education in order to change the world. So what do all these people have in common? Education. To them was, the tool. Education to them was a tool and not a goal, unlike in our community where education seems like the end point, or perhaps let me say schooling, seems like the end point. These two allow them to source for the kind of education that suits their dreams and aspirations. They were not tailoring themselves, to fit education, but rather tailored education to fit them. It is in that custom-made educational system that we have schools for medicine and engineering, and also, schools for fashion and film. It is that custom-made education ideology that we appreciate you for a first-class degree, but you won't necessarily earn more than a school certificate holder if it's bringing more to the table than you are. In Nigeria, in Africa, we have people who have made it to the top, climbing ladders that they diligently built themselves. Who gave the likes of Tara Feladro to a degree in makeup artistry and production, or a Mike Adenuga a degree in telecommunications technology, or an Innocent Dibia a degree in music, or Dele Momodu a degree in media and communications. As the lead team, when working on any edition of Home Advantage Africa conferences, a discussion platform that brings people together to discuss Africa with the aim to fall forward, we always ensure for difference, not just to fulfill unspoken diversity rules, but most importantly, to shine the light on one important truth. Growth is not in difference. Growth is in synergy. Synergy is understanding difference with the interest of all at heart. In a world where everybody quickly gets used to norms and traditions, anyone who tries to be true to themselves would appear different, as there's actually just one, of you. So, in essence, what I'm trying to say is that you must not use your life as the flashlight to find education, but rather use education through innovative and creative, ideas to find, your life, because in that is truly empowerment. In that is truly development and liberation, especially, for the youth. As a nation, we need to take the focus off the archaic schooling systems and concentrate on the growth and development of an exposed community via quality and bespoke education institutions. I ask you today that what is more that has built, what is the more that has built prosperous nations? What is the more that has led to groundbreaking discoveries and inventions? What is the more that has changed the course of the world, today? If we think about this, for a second, we will understand that the more are the individuals who used the rules to bend and to tweak, the rules, thinking without, boxes. These are people that, they are not bound, by boxes. A lot of people who say, think outside the box. But, I dare to say that, in the first instance, there is really no box anywhere. The thinking space is an infinite space. So whatever we want to do, let us just, simply think, not, with the consciousness that there is a box that you're even trying to think, outside of. There is no box anywhere. We're only limited in our own heads, in our own minds. So the moments that we actually consider that truly there is no limitation, then there is really, really no end to what, we can actually, think of, or what, we can actually do. So, the number of, things that are not, are more in line, with the dispensation of this generation. A lot of, innovative, creative, ideas, out there that are against the norm. There was a time where, for you to see a big man, who rides beautiful cars and all like that, and then the definition of a good profession then was either maybe a lawyer or, a doctor or, an engineer. And, for you to really, maybe earn even in 6 figures, you have to, be in this, fields, as it were. But today, we have, creative guys. We have, people who, their job is, being a photographer or a videographer or a graphic designer. And then they are making, millions, of naira. They are making so much more, or they are making as much as, what, a doctor, an engineer, an architect, is going to earn. And these are people that, they are not necessarily in the formal, education sector, as it were. These are people that it is through innovative, culture, through creativity that they've been able to develop and empower themselves. And that is why, I must say, especially even being, someone who, for the past, 2 years, have been actively involved in governance. I must say that, one of the greatest, advantage, for any of our youths is that we actually, think and do things differently. One of the major keys, to, true and genuine youth development and empowerment is, a sustainable, innovative, culture where, people can think about doing things, differently. When you can think that, look, Nigeria is not the competition. Wherever you are, in Africa is not the competition. Wherever you are in the world, as a matter of fact, is not the competition. The competition is international. The competition is on a global scale now. So whatever you are doing, you have to be able to compare it with what is obtainable everywhere in the world. And only then, can you really make, a meaning, out of life. Only then can you truly empower yourselves. The government is not, going to create, all the jobs. The government cannot even afford, to create, jobs for everyone. In fact, what is meant to be the primary responsibility, of the government is to create an enabling environment, for innovative ideas, creativity, and that, innovative, consciousness and culture to thrive. The government has no business doing business. So, for anything that we need to do, it is meant to be our own, ingenuity that we need to come up with, business ideas, business structures, and then, we enjoy the dividend of having a good, government in place who has given us, that, enabling environment for our businesses to thrive. So that is why, it is up to us if we really want to make, our country better, if we really want to make ourselves better. It is not looking at what to get, from, the government or what to get from people, but how can I actually, use, my own, innovation to turn the world, around. We have a number of, people, today, especially in Nigeria, that they've used their own ingenuity. They've used their own creativity to actually put, food on their table. More than ever before, today in Nigeria, we have, a lot of disruptive ideas that are not conventional, that are out of the convention, and that are really, really, changing the order of things. So, and I believe that, I have, different, friends, colleagues, associates in different, sectors that are actually, changing the course, of things, around. And these guys are doing well. I'm also, a living example of a youth in government. And, I was appointed the Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Oyo State, sometimes in August 26, 2019. And as at that time, I was the youngest in the history of Nigeria to ever, attain that, position or to serve in that, capacity. I was only 27, but I'm happy, today that, it's been a wonderful, testimony, especially, for, the entire youth, being a good example, to the youth, and then, serving and, telling the world that, yes, we might be young, where, age-wise, but then I believe so much that you see, substance, good substance, character. It is not a function of age. It's a function of, the person and, what you carry. It's a function of wisdom, which is the understanding of difference and the ability to anticipate consequences. And that is why, when I was appointed at 27, I was meant to serve as commissioner in a ministry where, the permanent secretary, the directors are people that are, either, my parents, age mate, or even older than my parents, but I have to do what I have to do as a 27-year-old, commissioner. And I told people that, look, going into this, ministry, I am not going there to act, my age. I am going there to act the responsibility. And the responsibility that has been committed into my hands is that of the Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Sports. So I am not a young commissioner. I am the Commissioner for Youth and Sport. So whatever it takes, to discharge, my duty is what I am going to do unapologetically. And I'm glad that, that's wisdom to be able to interact, with the older ones, yet while, maintaining, the discipline that is meant to be, in that office and upholding the honor of that, office. So, and I think that, for each and every one of us, especially the youth, out there, don't let us be timid. Don't let us be afraid to actually take those bold steps. You see, that's innovative, idea, that thing that you've been thinking about that you really think that, okay, you want to do, but you're looking at, if I want to start out, to do this, won't the other people in this, field say that, who am I? Or what do I know? Yes, they will say, what do you know? They will say, who are you? But the most important thing is that when you do, when you show yourself approved, you are able to actually, change the narrative. When I was appointed as commissioner, a lot of people said that, let us see what he's going to do. Let's see how he's going to cope within, 3 months. Some said, okay, let's see what he will do, within the first, half, of, his time, within the first 6 months. But, a lot of them kept watching. And I'm happy, I'm glad that, they were all disappointed because they were expecting us to fail. But the truth is, everything that I am doing today, it is not a product of overnight. It's a product of overtime. I did not just, arrive into this space. A lot of things I am doing now are things that I have been doing diligently before now. I did not become the honorable commissioner because of, maybe my father is a politician, or they just felt like, okay, let us, give, this, as a compensation. No, it wasn't a compensation. It was a case of, a round peg in a round hole. It was a case of, results and performance. It was a case of a credible antecedent. And that is why, for each and every one of us, now is the best time, for us to do things differently. Now is the best time for us to embrace, innovation and actually, sublime ourselves in that, culture of, greatness, that culture of unconventional, engagement and activities that, is going to turn things around, especially in the locality that we find, ourselves. So I believe so strongly that, there might be many, keys, to doing a particular thing or to youth development and empowerment. But I strongly believe that truly for any youth, to be empowered, for any youth to actually, develop, innovation is one of, those, pillars for such, development. Innovation is one of the pillars for such, empowerment. And the earlier we embrace it, the better it is, for us, whether in the public sector or the private, sector. Let us just dare, to be innovative and to do things, differently, and to also always consciously belong, to or embrace, that culture that actually, promotes innovation. So I believe that, with these very, very, few time, spent with us, I believe that, at least, this can serve as actually, a spring, board or a starting, engagement to even drive, the conversation, forward within ourselves, at various, destination, wherever you're joining, from Africa, Europe, America, just, understand that this, generation is different. It's a generation of performance and results. And as long as, you have that value and you can actually dish it out, people are ready to listen to you. It is not a function of how old you are. As a matter of fact, the age of Methuselah has nothing to do with the wisdom of Solomon. So it is not, how, long the years, are, but how well you've been able to spend those years. Before, it was almost impossible for we to have, millionaires in, their teens like that. But today, we have, teenagers who are millionaires in dollars. We have, teenagers who are millionaires in naira. And these are not people that, okay, maybe they actually inherited the wealth. These are people that, the values they put out, the idea they put out is what has brought about, that wealth or that, recognition, that influence, that fame. We have people, that, they are in their teens and then they have massive, influence everywhere. So let us, dare to be innovative. And I want to really appreciate, the UNICAF team, for reaching out to me and for giving me the privilege to actually, share my beats. And I know that, by the special grace of God, I look forward to more awesome, collaborations between us by the special grace of God. So please, I'm going to crave our indulgence to kindly, permit me, well, if there are questions that I can quickly answer, no problem. But then I would like to crave our indulgence to permit me to leave, for my other engagements. I'm also going to be, speaking and facilitating, some stuff for JCI, Nigeria, where, they have their national, conference, in the city of Ibadan here, today, and which I'm actively, part of. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner. We are so grateful for the great insight that you have really shared with us. We understand your busy schedule. We will take the questions and, if possible, get through to you and then see how to answer and then, of course, share it back to the attendees. So thank you so much, sir, for this great insight. Yes, civilization starts with education. Yes, it's a thinking without a box. So I'm so sure that we all took that home. And they said thinking space is an infinite space. Thank you so much, sir, for this great wisdom that you have shared with us. We are super grateful. Thank you so much, sir. And I'm so sure that the attendees all have taken down your wealth of insight and knowledge today. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate your time. We're grateful that you did this with us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. God bless you.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for being patient with us throughout the first session. We are so excited to have our keynote speaker with us, another person than the Honorable Commissioner. And quickly, we'll be moving to the next speaker. And I'll be giving the floor to Kemi to introduce the next speaker.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nelson. Thank you, Honorable Commissioner, for accepting our request and for speaking at this event. All right, just as Mr. Nelson mentioned, we have remarkable associations present here with us today. And the next speaker is a representative of JCI. JCI is Junior Chambers International, and it is a non-profit organization of young active citizens aged 18 to 40 who are engaged and committed to creating impact in their communities. Permit me to welcome Mrs. Onyinyechukwu Mbeledogu. She is the immediate past president of JCI. She will be representing the president of JCI Nigeria, Mr. Abiola Olorunishola. Mrs. Onyinyechukwu Mbeledogu is a purpose-driven leader who possesses great communication and interpersonal skills. She is a team player who has both worked with and led teams nationally and internationally. She has attended various leadership trainings facilitated by reputable institutions and professional bodies, including John C. Maxwell Leadership Trainings. She is a legal practitioner of 15 years post-call. She currently works with one of the top law firms in Nigeria. She is a member of the Nigerian Bar Association Port Harcourt. She is also a member of the Junior Chambers International. And like I mentioned, she is the immediate past president of Junior Chambers International. She is a graduate of the JCI Academy held annually in Japan. And she believes in constant improvement and moving with the times, as this can be seen in the great strides recorded by JCI. Thank you very much, Madam Onyinyechukwu, for accepting to speak with us today.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, UNICAF, for the partnership we've enjoyed as members of JCI. So active citizens, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, guests and friends, good morning to you. I'd like to start by saying that there can be no visible, let alone sustainable growth and development in any society unless the challenges of the youth population is addressed. And the major one is unemployment. We know that unemployment is the bane of our society. Youth unemployment is like a cancer for us, and it has in a lot of ways inhibited sustained economic growth in the country and development in Nigeria. So we know that some of these have led to vices like internet fraud, kidnapping, armed robbery, prostitution, terrorism, political thuggery, and a whole lot of things. And so this topic, innovative culture, the key to youth development and empowerment, is very key. So I'll quickly start by going into the definitions of the key words, starting with innovation. Now, innovation is the amalgamation of invention and creativity that leads to the generation of social and economic value. We talk about innovation all the time, and it's the introduction of something new. Now, it might not be that something had never existed, but it could be a new way of doing something. That's what innovation is all about. And your level of innovation within a society always correlates with its development. Gone are the days when doing things the same way gives you good results. Now, you have to find new and improved ways of doing things. Then we go to culture. Culture is a set of shared attitudes, values, goals, practices that characterize an institution, an organization, or community of people. Now, I've also put up the cultural wheel. When we talk of culture, we have a whole lot of things associated. Community, you have your knowledge, your stories involved, your language, your traditions and your rituals, techniques and skills, tools and objects, arts, food and drink. So your culture is something that affects every individual, especially in Nigeria, where we have a multiplicity of cultures. I always say that Nigeria is the most diversified country in the world. You can quote me anywhere. We have the largest number of languages. We have the largest number of ethnic groups. And so we're a very diversified country, so we can easily speak of what culture is all about. Then we have youth development. Youth development is an intentional process that helps young people to build attributes and skills that are needed to participate successfully in adolescence and adult life. You can also see the cycle that I have put there. You cannot talk about youth development without treating the aspect of education, their health and well-being. We always tend to overlook that aspect, but health and well-being is very, very important. And it's something we don't joke with when it comes to activities of JCI and JCI initiatives. We talk of the political participation. A lot of times we spend more time complaining about the politicians and what they are doing and the kind of laws that are being churned out. So what it means is that as youths, we should also endeavor to see how we can also participate in political activities. Then also, please, can we still go back to the previous slide? I'm still there. Okay, then we'll talk about employment and opportunities. So talking about employment and opportunity, we're talking about being either working for somebody or being self-employed or having the opportunity to also become entrepreneurs, providing opportunities for persons to gain employment. And finally, civic participation. Civic participation, this is where JCI also comes in, bringing in young youths and ensuring that we all carry out our civic duties towards the society. Okay, so next slide, please. All right, so empowerment. You cannot divorce youth development and empowerment. They go together. So empowerment is essentially controlling your own work environment and using your skills and talents in a way that benefits you and your organization, leading to more productivity and better outcome. But for me, the most interesting thing is about you being able to control your own work environment and using your skills and talents. That is very essential. You know, we're talking about youth empowerment. So the youth should be in a position where they can control their work environment and be able to use their talents and utilize their skills, be able to grow these skills and improve on the skills that they already have. And then the topic itself, innovative culture. Now, what is innovative culture? Innovation, we say, rules the world. So innovative culture has actually been one of the most taxing and widely discussed topics in conversations with businesses and innovation leaders in current times. And so an innovative culture is an environment that is cultivated in order to nurture unconventional thinking. So meaning that you're not thinking as usual. So you're trying to break barriers, okay? And then its application to creating sustainable solutions. It's indeed a lifestyle. It has to be seen as a lifestyle of being ready to do things in a new way. So don't be stuck in your ways. And then coming up with creative solutions. Now, why I say there's no need to be stuck in ways. You can remember 2020 was a year nobody expected. The COVID pandemic came from nowhere and hit the entire world. So it wasn't just businesses that suffered, even individuals. Everybody had to start thinking, because for you to have survived, you needed to be able to come up with solutions, things different from what you were doing previously. I remember that as an organization previously, they had told us, they said that in 2019, that would come to a point where would actually be having general assemblies, meetings, conducting elections online. People will say, that's not possible. We always believed in, we have to always meet. We have to always meet physically. We see our faces and the rest. But 2020 taught us that, look, you need to adjust. You need to make changes. And 2020 made it important for people to realize that the time for innovative culture, thinking about innovative culture, is now. Gone are those days that, yes, things that we're doing were working for us. Now you need to be innovative. You need to imbibe the culture of being innovative for you to be able to progress, not just as a business, but even as an individual. You have to be able to come up with new ideas, listen to people who have new ideas, and encourage new ideas. Okay, so next slide. So when we talk about innovative culture, the target is sustainable solutions. When you imbibe in an innovative culture, it becomes like a lifestyle for you. You find out that it's easier for you to come up with sustainable solutions. It becomes so easy. So you find out that irrespective of what hits you, you're able to stand because you're always thinking about innovation, new things, new ways of doing things that were previously done, or even introducing newer things. I know that most of us know that the initial computers could fit into a massive room, right? That was the kind of computer that was invented at first. But now we have even the tablets that we can move around with. We have our phones doing the same thing. Now, a lot of people don't even listen to the radio anymore. Why? Because FM and the rest are already on your phone. So your phone has even taken over a lot of things. And then the kind of phones we even have now also make some of our laptops to be redundant, unless when you want to deal with something on a larger scale, lots of documents there, you now remember that, yes, you have a laptop to go back with. But that is what innovation is about, sustainable solutions. So we've had phones, but then you have progress. You have to keep on making progress, where the phone was no longer just used for sending text messages and making calls, to now being able to solve problems, where you can actually stand wherever you are and respond to an email and do a whole lot of things. That is innovative culture, providing sustainable solutions for you. Then we talk about global competitiveness. When you have a system that encourages innovative culture, it gives the boost for global competitiveness. You're able to compete at the global level because you have so much to offer. Now, as youths, while youths are seen as an indispensable, but yet an underutilized force in tackling global poverty and inequality, you cannot take away from them the energy, the passion, and the courage that they have to challenge the status quo. And so this is what is actually needed to identify and address a lot of complex global problems. And their insights are worthy of attention and investment. So now we're talking about global competitiveness and how this is how innovative culture can bring about global competitiveness. We're able, especially in Nigeria now, to be able to compete with the rest of the world. This is what it gives to us. So the global development community should be able to serve as champions and provide stronger ecosystems of support for those insights that would materialize into effective development solutions for the country. So it's very important for the development. And then beyond this, we now talk about enhanced employment and entrepreneurship opportunities. Sorry, because I'm still in the previous slide. So enhanced employment and entrepreneurship opportunities, very, very key. When you imbibe innovative culture, it enhances employment and entrepreneurship opportunities. It also makes room for a more inclusive society and then a sustained economic growth. Okay, so the next slide. So we know from the statistics that we have over 200 million persons in Nigeria. In fact, the recent statistics said something about, I think it was about 206 or about 260 million people currently in Nigeria. So you can see this is just a small part of Lagos. This is just a market in Lagos, and you can see the population of people that are there. So please, the next slide. So even looking at the next slide, you will see a large number of people. We are many in Nigeria. So many people. This is still just a place. And so what this has led to is job crisis. And so this statistics shows you, this graph would show you what the current employment rate is, courtesy of the National Bureau of Statistics. Now we have about 120 million people within working age, forming the working age population. Now, out of these people, the labor force that we have is about 60-something%. Now, even there, you still have a reduced number of persons who are fully employed. You don't have up to 40 million fully employed. Then you still have an even less number who are underemployed. So they have employment, but they are underemployed, meaning that what they are doing, it's not what they ordinarily should do. So that's like somebody who has a degree, and then you now have to end up probably being somebody who is lifting blocks somewhere. So this is part of, so you actually have a job, or you're unemployed, underemployed rather. Then you have those who, a limited number of people who work less than 20 hours a week. Now, for some of these people, is that because they are very comfortable, so they don't even need to work too much? And while for some of them, is because that is the kind of job that they can get, where maybe they are called to work about 3 times in a week because of the unavailability of the job opportunities. Then you now have a large number of people who don't even work at all. So the job crisis is a serious problem. And so, which brings me to the facts that we need to face. And it's good as we're talking about this. These are some of the facts we need to face in Nigeria. Less than half of Nigeria's labor force is fully employed. So we have a lot of unemployed people. Then you have, as of 2020, a third of the 69.7 million strong labor force that we have in Nigeria either did nothing or they worked for less than 20 hours a week, making them underemployed. Then another 15.9 million worked less than 40 hours a week, meaning that they are underemployed. So those working less than 20 hours a week are more like unemployed staff, because it's more like some of the contract jobs that you have. It's when the opportunity comes that you go in there. So you don't really have a job per se. Then you have more than 60% of working age population younger than 34. And so looking at these statistics, now you're seeing that most of these people we're even talking about are younger than 34. Then you have unemployment for people aged 15 to 24 stood at 53.4 in the fourth quarter. And at that 37.2 for people aged 25 to 34. So the jobless rate for women was about 35.2 compared with 31.8 for men, which also brings us to gender inequality. But that's a topic for another day. So the United Nations have actually predicted that by 2050, Nigeria could actually be the world's third most populous country with over 300 million people. And so you know that already we're at 200 plus, we're already talking about the high unemployment rate. And so you now know that the number of persons who will be looking for jobs will be rising, because as the population grows, then we now outpace the output expansion. And so the discussion, what is the way forward? Innovation. Innovation is very key. So vision, we need to start thinking as youths. Start thinking, what is that which we want? Please, sorry, the previous slide. Okay, vision, we need to start thinking, and thinking seriously. Inspiration, we need to be inspired. And so those around us, you can help by inspiring us. Ideas, come up with ideas, because you cannot talk about people not encouraging you when you don't even have an idea to begin with. Have an idea, write it down, have ideas, series of ideas waiting. Then creativity, use your creative juices, let them run free. A lot of us have stopped using our brain. That's the truth. A lot of us don't even utilize 1% of the capacity of our brain. So we need to start being creative. Let those creative juices start running, developing growth. These two work together. And at the end of it, then we would have success. So what should we do? Please, next slide. Create an enabling environment. Now, we cannot be talking about a lifestyle of innovative culture when you don't have an enabling environment for it. Yes, the government has a lot of empowerment programs that are running. So kudos to government. But I would like to point at this point that feedbacks are necessary, follow-ups are necessary. Yes, Nigerian youths have actually been recently targeted for, and then a lot of resources have been channeled into training them and empowering them, especially in terms of entrepreneurship through the Nigerian government. However, follow-ups are very key, because sometimes you find out, and I like to say this because we're being truthful here, because we want to ensure that things work. You find out that a lot of times the people that are put in charge of doing all these things tend to go to those who they feel, okay, they are related to me or they are my friends' children and the rest. So they give you opportunities to people who they feel are closer to them. And then those who really deserve these opportunities don't get the opportunities. And so that's why we talk about creating an enabling environment where everyone can work, everyone can be creative, everyone can feel free to be innovative. Then the education curriculum is terrible. That's the truth. Even when I was in school, you find out that they don't prepare you for the outside world. It's like you're put in this bubble. And then the moment you step out to the real world, you find out that what you learned is only about 5% of what you can use in the real world. So you're like being thrown out there with nothing much. So our education curriculum needs to be revisited, where we do more of practical than theory. I know that a lot of education curriculums, except probably in a few schools, don't even talk about entrepreneurship. They don't even talk about people being able to become employers of labor, but rather they channel your mind to come out and say, okay, yeah, I want to work in the biggest hospital. I want to work with SPDC, ELF, that's the oil companies. I want to work in the biggest bank. I want to go in here. And so you're like boxed in. I like it when the commissioner talked about thinking like there's no box there. There's no box around. So don't even, this one they say think out of the box or don't allow the box to box. Don't even think as if there's a box around you. But that is what the education curriculum that we have has taught us. So we have a particular mindset, and that mindset does not encourage innovation. I know that there were times when we used to have science fairs where children in primary school could come up and invent a lot of things. And the Minister for Science and Technology is interested. Companies are interested in what these children are churning out. But now, people are really not doing much. Schools are just, okay, the teachers come and they teach, you write notes, write exams, and then you're out. So innovation needs to also start from our education curriculum, just as we need our parents to also start thinking about how to identify those talents of our children and encourage their skills. So we've talked about entrepreneurship, then investment in information technology. We're in the digital age. So a person who does not know how to use the computer, how to use your phone for more than making calls and sending text messages, believe me, you belong in the Stone Age. Seriously, because we're in the period of information technology. Our companies are going digital now. We're having this because of the digital age. We're able to talk from various parts of the country. We're not together, but you're hearing us. We're all participating in a class. Previously, we all needed to be in one room and then they call us, we come there and address you. But we're doing this online, right? We're not in the same place. So that is why there's need to invest. Yes, some investments have been done in information technology, but we need to also put a whole lot more. Information technology companies now know that this is the in thing. So they are investing in training their workers, training people who would work for them. The Microsoft application you used previously is not what you have previously. You now have Windows 10. They've moved from XP and the rest, Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, and they are coming up. So showing that they appreciate the fact that when an information technology age, so even them, they need to also improve, because the moment you don't improve, you'll be pushed out. It's like a secretary coming to look for a job and then your skill is typewriter. You know how to use a typewriter. You can be said that nobody's going to employ you. So we need to start thinking about investing in information technology. Then trainings and mentorship. What kind of trainings do we give to youths? We need to start thinking of the trainings that inspire, because inspiration for me is very, very key. The kind of trainings you give should be the type that inspires the youth to stop complaining and do something. Because everybody becomes a complainer. We complain so much. Everybody, things are not going, but you're not doing anything. And that is why I still love to talk about the organization I belong to, which is JCI. One of the things that we've tried a whole lot of activities because we believe in something, and that is seeing the need and taking the lead. We don't need to wait for government to do everything. As an organization, we try to complement government activities, government initiatives. Now, you know, this is a youth organization that we're talking about youth development and innovative culture. So that is what we're trying to do. Get our members, we have about 5,000 members, to start thinking about imbibing the innovative culture. We have the things that we do, like the social enterprise economy for enterprise academy that we do for our students in tertiary institutions, pitching innovative business ideas to potential investors. We have the tech academy to foster tech education and innovations. We even have a program that is going on presently, like the commissioner said, we had invited him, 10 Outstanding Young Persons Award, which will recognize the achievement of persons under 40 in the country who are doing things that are innovative. You know, we keep on saying innovative. Even just recently, we concluded our Creative Young Entrepreneurs Award with over 1,000 entries. And believe me, it was not an easy task selecting the best of the best. And that goes to underscore the fact that there are a lot of youths in Nigeria with creative minds. And so we need to encourage them and mentor them, channel this passion, channel this talent in the right direction, and importantly, sustain the culture of innovation. We have a very terrible maintenance and sustenance culture in Nigeria. I just have to say this. We have a lot of ideas, but we don't sustain them. So when we get people to start thinking of innovation, then we need to also start thinking of how to sustain the culture of innovation. So I'd like to leave us with this word by Einstein. We cannot solve a problem by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. So let's think innovation. Let's have a lifestyle of innovative culture. When we have this, then youth development and empowerment would not be the biggest issue that we have now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Onyinyechukwu. Thank you so much for such a very insightful presentation. From your presentation, I was able to get that innovative culture leads to sustainable solutions and global competitiveness, and also that we need to improve more on our ideas, our vision, and our inspiration. Thank you so very much, madam. Thank you for making our time to speak to us today. All right, okay, so I would like to use a particular quote from the 32nd president, US President Franklin D. Roosevelt, which says that we cannot always build a future for our youth, but we can always build our youth for the future. Our next speaker is the country director of one of the top organizations that is passionate about empowering and developing the youth to occupy leadership positions, AIESEC. Mr. Felix Bissong is currently the country director of AIESEC Nigeria. And he is proud to him becoming the country director earlier this year. He has served as the operations manager for AIESEC in Nigeria, where he facilitated leadership experiences and for young Nigerians abroad. Mr. Felix has worked with numerous talents from different industries across the globe while serving as an HR lead and talent acquisition manager for one of the fastest growing tech firms in Europe. Mr. Felix is a BSc political science holder, and he is very keen on leadership development in young people, as he believes that leadership is the fundamental solution to the world's challenges. Thank you so much, Mr. Felix, for joining us today. You have the floor now. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Great to be here. Thank you so much, Unica, for, of course, inviting AIESEC to this. Really appreciate this is the fourth time we're doing this, and we really love that you always invite us for your event. Happy to be here. Happy International Youth Day to everybody here and all the youth across the globe. I would not like to bore you guys with a lot of information, so I'll just sort of like be talking about, of course, the innovative culture, the key to youth development and empowerment in a very short space. I'll try to make this as very concise as possible, just so I don't get to bore you people. I know that the Gen Z, they get easily bored, of course. I mean, we get easily bored, of course, with a lot of information. So I'll try as much as possible to make this slightly different from what we've had from the two speakers, just so I don't get to bore you. Now, the approach I'll be taking, of course, to ensuring that we all understand exactly what this message I'll be passing across is about, would be about internalizing the innovative culture for us. Okay, internalizing the innovative cultures as youth. How do you, of course, internalize the cultures? How do you ensure that you have this innovative culture for yourself and wherever you are, right? So while going through this topic, something struck me. I mean, I saw something about the role of enlightened and innovative youth cannot be overemphasized. Of course, it cannot be overemphasized because we, I mean, saying, okay, the youths are the leaders of today and tomorrow, but of course, we don't know exactly what the roles that we need to play are. Okay, so we need to play these, of course, these innovative roles in order for us to ensure that we have an innovative society that we can live in, right? So, I mean, I'll be going again with culture. I think that we know what culture really is about. Culture is people's way of life. Culture is what things that we already learned back in the primary school or secondary school. You know, I mean, I had culture is the characteristics and knowledge of a particular group of people, encompassing language, religion, cuisine, social habits, and the rest of it. You know, this is some part of the definition of culture, right? And I also believe that most of us, we know exactly what culture is, what we are used to, what we learned when growing up, what our society confines us to. Because for Nigeria, they do that there are different cultures in Nigeria. You know, if you are from Yoruba, there's a particular way you are, from the Yoruba tribe, there's a particular way, of course, you behave. If you are from the ethnic tribe, there's a particular way you behave. If you're Nigerian, there's a particular way you behave from someone from South Africa. Those are cultures that keeps us. So it can also be referred to as a people's way of life as well. And I have, of course, what culture really is. Culture could encompass all of these. It could be beliefs, it could be languages, it could be food, it could be food. Just for instance, the Yoruba guys have different food that they eat. The Calabar guys have different food that they eat. The Igbo guys have different food that they eat and lots more, and they have different rituals as well. So those are cultures. They define us. They define our individualistic tendencies. Really, you know, that's what truly I see as cultures, right? And if we go forward again, we have innovation. You know, people have talked about the two speakers, previous speakers have talked about innovation, and everything they've talked about innovation are truly interesting and very, very, true about what truly innovation is really. So I'll be, of course, going ahead and trying to redefine this for you, just to you understand exactly what innovations are. So, of course, we have a way of doing things. Culture is the people's way of life, right? And maybe some of us we grew up into this ways. Okay, as a Yoruba person, for instance, I'm not saying Yoruba people do this, but as a Yoruba person, for instance, you cook without, or you cook with pepper, right? You cook with pepper, and as a Calabar person, for instance, as well, I do not eat pepper, but of course, I grew up in the Yoruba land. What do you do? How do you live in the Yoruba land? You know, you need to innovate your ways. You need to find a way to innovate how you can live and survive in the Yoruba land, because, of course, the Yoruba people like pepper, for instance, and the Calabar guys like pepper as well. So how do you want to survive in Yoruba land? You have to innovate around. You have to look at how can I ensure that I adapt to this environment to ensure that I live. So culture, innovation, I beg your pardon, is the introduction of something new. Okay, something new. So we've had 2020, of course, brought up a lot of things for us. It brought up, of course, the entire Zoom meeting, the entire digital platform for us. Today, tomorrow, just a few of us knew about the Zoom meetings and the virtual thing. Some of us were just very keen on, okay, we have to meet. What's physical meeting is here. When we are going for sales meeting, we are going to when we are looking at how we can pay flight money, how can we book stuff, how can we do this, how can we do that to ensure that, how can we get logistics ready to, of course, move for a meeting. But right now, look at us. We're having a meeting here, and everybody around the world is joining in, and without the stress of paying flight ticket, or buying whatever they need to get just to get there. Okay, it is the new way of doing things. It's the introduction of something new. So how do we introduce? How did Zoom come in? Zoom came in as a form of an innovation. Okay, it could be also it could be an already something introduction of something new to an already existing process or culture. So as a cultural person, or as excuse me, as a culture that's existed for years now, how do you of course try to change something? How do you try to say, okay, for Nigeria right now, maybe back in the days, when you graduate from school, like the commissioner said, you of course have to come into the jobs to give you offer letters and the rest of it. Right now, it doesn't work that way anymore. It doesn't work that way. How do we move from there? How do you how have we innovated from there? So now it's all the buttons in your code. Academic doesn't necessarily get you a job, but your skill and also the things that you've also of course put your mind in, the innovations you've actually thought of would be the ones to get the jobs. Today in Nigeria, we have a lot of fintechs, we have a lot of startups, we have a lot of founders in Nigeria who did not necessarily go to school, but they are big right now. Okay, they decided to do something different, they did something new, they did something that was out of the box, or that was done without even thinking the box even existed. Okay, that's what innovation is. Now, again, it's bringing a new idea or method of doing things. So how do we do things differently? Back in the days, we didn't have like bulbs, right? Or we used like kerosene lantern to read books. We waited for the moon to come down, or the moon to show up before we go to read books. But right now, we have our lights. We have generators. We have a lot of things. We have rechargeable lantern. Those are innovations that are helping us. So as youth, how do we ensure that we innovate in order for us to still be a part of life, really? Because if you're not, of course, part of this innovation that is going on, people are moving, there's a lot of force going forward. People are not staying stagnant anymore. We are moving forward to, of course, looking at how can we make things even better. So if you're not moving as a youth, if you're not moving as a young person, trust me, you're not going to be, you'll be left behind. Okay, if you're waiting for, okay, I want to finish up school and maybe get the job, that's not going to be what work for you. You worked for them back in the days. Right now, it doesn't work that way anymore. There are a lot of, I think the lady from Jesus showed us, of course, statistics about unemployment in Nigeria. It's high right now. There are a lot of youths who are ready to work, but they don't have jobs because maybe they have decided not to innovate their ways around this. Maybe they decided not to do what they're meant to do. Maybe they are still stuck with the mentality of, okay, I go to school, I come back and I get a job from wherever I get the job from. But that's not it presently. Okay, so innovation is, of course, knowing that 5 plus 5 is 10, and of course, getting to know also that 6 plus 4 also gets you to 10. Okay, so that means doing something differently that ensures that you win. Okay, so when you do something this way, your parents do something this way, you know that there are different ways, entirely different ways you can do as well. You can do the same thing to get the same, and you can do this thing differently to get the same result. So why not do it differently? Okay, one of the problems we have in Nigeria, also Nigeria here, is that we wait for a lot of things to happen. We do not go to make things happen. Okay, and that is not really fair. That's not really working for us at the moment. That's why we have a lot of people waiting. Okay, waiting for the government to give us jobs. We're waiting for the government to launch job applications so that we can apply for roles, apply for jobs. That's not working anymore. That's why people say, "Oh, I when I graduated from school, I took my certificate. I was walking around town to get jobs." I don't know if that's really what happens anymore, because I have never done that as a young person, and I don't think I will ever do that because I innovated. Okay. So it's the key to, of course, your development and empowerment. Okay, when you innovate, of course, what we have here right now is innovation as well. Look at this person. I don't know if you can see my mouse here, but if you look at this person here, this person innovated. Now these people are still here. They're stagnant because they cannot move. Now you cannot move with this cube because, of course, it's a rectangle, and if you cannot roll it because it's a rectangle. So how do you ensure that you roll it better? So these two guys here were able to, of course, innovate around it, and they got the circle instead. And this is there, and these are the guys moving forward. They are moving. Okay, but meanwhile, these other guys here are still behind. Okay, these are what we need for youth to do right now. So innovative culture is also building a belief or a mindset that encourages innovation everywhere you go. Okay, so as youth of the 21st century, you need to find the way around doing things differently from the status quo. I think that's the next point here. Doing things differently from status quo, not necessarily like doing things the way things have been done because, oh, it's the best way to do it. There are other ways to do it. So innovative culture helps us to see the bigger picture and leaves the myopic views behind. How do we see the bigger picture? Innovation tells you, okay, hey, this is the problem. oh, sorry, not this, I mean, it's a problem here, but for you particularly as an individual, because you are an innovative person, you have an innovative culture, you're seeing a solution. You're not looking at the problem, you're looking at the solution. So in AIESEC right now, what we have, one of the values is being solution oriented. So being solution oriented means that you see solutions instead of problems. You view a solution instead of problems. You always try to solve problems instead of seeing the problems itself. So it leaves out my big view behind and gives the bigger picture. Okay. Innovation could also mean shaping your mindset and challenging the status quo. Okay, so this is what has been going on. People graduate from school, they get to wait for maybe their uncles to call them to get a job and all. But I mean, it's not working anymore for you. How do you want to do it? Do you want to like wait for your uncle to call you? Do you want to wait for government to release application forms for you to fill in and go and queue you up in a very stadium perhaps? I mean, these are what you want to wait for. Meanwhile, there are other things. You become an entrepreneur, you could be doing something different with your life, but you're waiting. So innovate around this. There are a lot of different CEOs right now because they decided to innovate. So having an innovative mind again also gives us the power to think differently from others and helps us to excel. Now, while others are seeing challenges, you are seeing solutions. Okay, it gives you the power to of course to think differently from others, from your contemporaries, to think of different things entirely. Okay, and it helps you to think brighter. Okay, and also at the end of the day, when you innovate, it helps you to win. I mean, winning is the last thing for us. So when you innovate as a young person, you don't need to wait for the government to produce jobs for you. You go out there and do everything you need to do. You go out there and have joint organization value students in school. You go out there and maybe maybe try to volunteer or do something different with your life. Try to like walk around, getting internships as a student, or having like different experience as a student. I mean, it helps you. So right now, when you get an actual job, they tell you, oh, you need to have like a 5-year experience. I worked in HR firm before as a recruitment as a talent acquisition officer. I've worked there before, and trust me, I also had that because this is what the client wants. The client wants somebody with 5 years, 3 years experience. As a student, perhaps I don't know. I mean, I have like a large audience here. I don't know. I mean, it's from 20 to 40, 45. So as a student, perhaps if you graduate from school, I mean, you're just a 4-year student. You just say, okay, wake up in the morning, go to school, read the books, come back and write the examination and all of those things. And you graduate. How do you want to get a 5-year experience from just going to school? How do you want to do that? And that's what in Nigeria here we're being confined to. So how do you ensure that you do things differently from what you've had in the past, or do things differently so that you don't get stuck, of course, on the road? Okay, the entire thing for you to do is to innovate around things, ensure that you win, do things differently, and ensure that you challenge the status quo. And doing this will help you really, really to win. As an organization or as a youth, you need to have like the innovative culture, which also refers to us of individual culture that really values and supports innovation. How do you have this culture that supports and values innovation? Okay, in the working environment and in your individual life, what do you need to do in order for you to ensure that when you leave school, you will not be stuck in that 5-year experience? That companies need 5-year experience before they can, of course, employ you in their firm. You need to look at how can I get engaged with organizations that are in school, that are in campuses, that helps us to grow. So for instance, right now, as an AIESEC, as an AIESEC member in school, of course, they already start building experiences, working experiences that they can use outside when they are done with school. Now, what are you doing as a young person? That's the most important thing for you to do right now. And that's the question you need to answer. What innovative culture are you building for you? Okay, now a strong innovative culture is the engine that drives organization and individual to constantly get better, move forward, and innovate. So if you have a strong innovative culture, the culture that says, okay, I have to do this thing differently because 5 plus 5 is 10. I don't need to always do 5 plus 5 is 10. I have to maybe 6 plus 4, maybe 3 plus 7, maybe 8 plus 2. I can try something different to ensure that I get to where I want to get to. Okay, innovation is ensuring that you do things, differently from what has been, and I think this is something I sort of like came up with. I mean, if you as an individual, there are people that will support you in this life and all of those things. You have like your parents and all. Innovative culture has this support as a system. Okay, when you get supported, of course, there's an effort from from your mind perhaps, or from the environment that tends to support your effort, it helps your efforts to grow. Okay, now from your effort again, you are learning. So you're learning new things, you're putting efforts in ensuring that you're learning new things as an individual, not necessarily waiting for the government to provide the job. You're learning skills, you're of course trying to maybe get into the tech space, not necessarily the tech space. I think some people will be already on that. You can do things differently from the tech space or tech ecosystem. You can do things, you can do different things entirely. And learn. While you're constantly learning, things or opportunities start opening for you out there. You innovate. You don't necessarily wait until you leave school before you can actually do something with your life. Okay, and when you constantly learn, of course, you're going to see results. Okay, you see great results for yourself, and this is what that would help you to grow. Okay, and now the culture is what that it's strategy for breakfast. So no matter the strategy you have, really, no matter the strategy that you have, okay, no matter the strategy that maybe your parents have for you, no matter the strategy that maybe the culture has for you, the culture has built for you, if you don't have innovative culture, you will not be able to grow. Okay, so culture is strategy for breakfast here means that the culture you build, the innovative culture you build obviously help you to hit your strategy and to help you to win. And the strategy here is definitely going to be for you to win. So, ladies and gentlemen, Felix, Bissong, AIESEC in Nigeria's country director, and it was great talking to you guys here. Thank you so much for being here. And once again, congratulations to every youth here on this commemoration of the International Youth Day. Thank you so much for having me in your events, Kemi, and of course, UNICAF. Greatly appreciated to be here. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Felix. Thank you for such an insightful presentation. From your presentation, I've been able to gather that we need to internalize innovative culture. And thank you for telling us to move forward as a youth and to keep doing things differently. Thank you. Thank you so much for creating time to attend this event. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, Kemi.